What's good, everybody? So today we're back for the M4 video. Now this is going to be a guide similar to the last one. It's not going to be a tier list. I'm just going to cover every single M4 in the game, special features, tips, tricks, things to know, and appreciate all the support on the last video. With that being said, let's get right into this one. Alright, first up we have the Teal. Now this is the only M4 in the game that's anime based, so if you're looking for a skin like that, it's a great choice. Extremely vibrant colors, perfect pairing with something like vice gloves, overprints. Anything very vibrant is going to work really well, and if you're looking for very good value, I recommend field tested 0.15 through 0.20. You're going to get a lot of the wear on the mag where it's not really visible, and the main picture will stay very clean. Next up, we have the Noir. Now, this skin comes from a line of skins with a very distinct art style. I think it looks great on this M4, and it's also pretty cheap for how good the art is. I do recommend minimal wear for the best value because it's twice as cheap as factory new, and you can pair it with multiple inventories. You could do full black with Nox, you could do full white with something like Kink Snakes, or you could even do vice gloves or overprints for very vibrant inventories. Now, the M4 in general has a ton of great budget skins with really nice art, and the Desolate Space is definitely one of them. Nice space theme going on, we got an astronaut, we have a rocket, tons of details, pairs really nicely with blue or purple inventories, and it's extremely cheap, so if you like the space theme and you want a budget skin, I think this is a phenomenal choice. Another great budget option is the Tooth Fairy, under $10 for factory new, so you can go with whatever condition you want. It's the only M4 in the game to have a horror aesthetic to it, so very unique in that regard. It's a bit difficult to pair with gloves and inventories color-wise, but if you have a theme going on with your inventory with like horror, I think this is a perfect choice. Next up, we have the Emperor, which is from the same collection as the Empress, and I think this skin also looks great. I love the blue on gold, the royal theme, the tarot card style. It has great pairing potential with fade gloves, specifically if you get a pattern where there's yellow on the cuff. And one more big thing to keep in mind is that field tested is 11 times cheaper than factory new. They look pretty much identical. There's a little bit more wear on the mag, but if you want the skin and you want it cheap, you can get it in field tested for 10 bucks, and it will be a phenomenal deal. Next up, we have the In Living Color, which is basically a giant colorful sticker bomb, and similar to the Be the Monster, it has great synergy with vibrant gloves like the overprint, the vices, and the hedge mazes. Also, this skin is perfect for crafting with hollows, especially on the buffer tube, the magazine, or even slapping them on the barrel will make the skin look a lot better, and I think minimal wear provides the best value. It's twice as cheap as factory new and looks just as good. Next up, we have the Dragon King. Now, in my opinion, this is one of the best value skins in the entirety of CS2. I love the artwork, I love the dragon. It's very similar to a Howl in design, but with different colors and a different creature. The one downside I would say is it's quite difficult to pair with gloves or inventories. There's a bunch of different colors on here, and if you want the best value, I think minimal wear at $10 will be great, but if you can afford factory new, definitely go for it because this skin does wear quite a bit on the magazine. Now, if you guys are interested in buying any of these skins, definitely check out today's sponsor, which is SkinSwap. SkinSwap is a CS2 marketplace where you can buy, sell, and trade skins with great reviews on Trustpilot. It's an easy way to swap your old skins for new ones or cash them out, and you always get a 40% deposit bonus. They offer a huge selection of skins to pick from and even daily giveaways. So if you want to try it out, you can use my link in the description for a free CS item. It is actually insane how many good budget M4s we have in CS2, and this is a great choice. Here's the Turbine, under $5 for factory new, and I do think factory new to minimal wear is going to be the best choice. Now, this skin, not a lot of art, but it has a cybernetic design to it, very nice, and the best part is going to be the 3D mapping. It is really cool, covers the entire gun, looks very sleek, and one added bonus feature, the yellow part in the middle of the gun actually lights up. If you want to pair this with inventories, I do think Nox are going to be the best choice because this skin does have a very deep, dark tone to it. And another great budget choice is the Spider Lily. Now, this skin has the gunsmith finish, so you can get it in field tested for $3 to $4, and it will look very similar to factory new. Now, the design, we have spider lilies on a blue background, we have some accents on the barrel and the stock, plus some gold accents on the buffer tube, and I think overall this skin provides great value. It's very minimal in design, but looks very clean, and has great pairing potential with marble fade gloves, which I don't see people using too often. The nice red inner palms, the blue and red colors on the cuffs make it a great combo. Now, it might seem like I'm glazing all these skins, but low-key, they're all really nice. This is the Poly Soup, and it's another banger. It's pretty cheap. I do recommend factory new to minimal wear for the cleanest look. I love the pastel colors on the handle, barrel, and stock. We have a nice crystallized design on the main body, and it actually has active pearlescence, meaning when you look side to side, it changes color. We don't see that often. Now, for pairing potential, I do recommend just going with Nox for the black on black. This color you can't really find on any other glove, but besides that, excellent skin to go with. Next up, we have the Buzzkill. Now, this skin is getting pretty old at this point, but I think it's aging quite well. It's a great choice for yellow inventories if you want to pair it with like a fuel injector, plus great synergy with big game gloves. The inner palms are perfect for this skin, both inspect and idle. Now, also, this skin has an industrial design to it. It's got 3D mapping, pretty much a little bit of everything. Overall, great choice, and I think minimal wear, about $10, is going to be the best value because factory renew is over double that. Next up, we have the Edgelord. Now, this skin is full black, so if you want a full black inventory, this is by far the best choice. Basically, the slate of the M4s. Now, the actual snake design looks great. I love how it's etched into the gun. It has incredible pairing potential with Nox gloves because they actually have that little like silver Icarus logo on the straps, which matches the color on the snake. Overall, great skin. It actually turns bronze in battle scarred, so you can even change the color of the skin, but I would recommend factory renew for that sleek full black look. Next up, we have the Magnesium, which is incredibly cheap, so I do recommend factory renew. It's going to be $1 or $2. The design is nice. We have carbon fiber, we have silver flames. It's a minimal skin, but it does look very clean. The inner area of this gun actually has an anodized finish to it, so it's actually reflective, which is a nice touch. Overall, simple skin, great to pair with something like smokeouts or unhinged gloves, and perfect for monochromatic loadouts. Next up, we have the Eye of Horus, which is actually a collection red, so it's very rare, but the Anubis collection has been in the game for so long that these got unboxed by the thousands, so it's actually quite cheap compared to other skins of this rarity. $4.50 factory renew for the best value. I'd say field tested to minimal wear. This skin wears really nicely, doesn't show a lot of wear at all, and it has a nice Egyptian theme to it. The birds, we have the gold engravings, the pastel colors. For combos, surprisingly, I actually like to pair it with spearmints because it has the same color that we see on the accents on the inner palm for the spearmints. Pretty, unique combo. Overall, great skin. Not that expensive for a collection red. Next up, we have the Evil Daimyo. Now, this skin is super cheap, about $3 in factory new, so I would recommend the best condition. This skin has the red and gray colorway, so it's going to work with a ton of inventories, a ton of gloves. Anything that's red or has gray inner palms is going to look really well with the skin, and it's a great red budget choice. Also, the design is simple but nice. We have a Gundam-inspired design on it, with a couple of shapes and different shades of gray. Next up, we have another red M4, which is the Hellfire. Now, this skin is a lot more expensive than the previous one, about $50 in factory new, and I would recommend going with whatever float you want. There is no like super good budget choice. Overall, the design, very stylized. It's like a cartoony hell inspired theme. We have a demon, some skulls, some flames. Great skin for crafting. Anything from flames to red and orange colors is going to look really nice on this skin. And for gloves, I would highly recommend Crimson Web gloves because of the red deep color that we see on the inner palms. For those of you that enjoy simple but elegant designs, the Daybreak is a great choice. It only has art in the middle, so everything else is stock, and you have to get the skin in factory new. It is quite expensive, about $280, but this skin wears extremely rough, so I do recommend looking for a very low float and a good wear pattern, and you're basically always going to have wear on it. Now for the skin itself, very simple design. We have a sun with clouds, and this skin is pattern based, so I would recommend going for a pattern where the sun is in the middle, or maybe even far left or far right. Last thing, if you want to pair it with gloves, I went with big games because of the same shade of orange, but this skin is quite difficult to pair with full color themed inventories. Next up, we have the Cybersecurity. Now this skin is about $35 in factory new, and I would recommend going for fact new. It makes the skin look a lot cleaner overall. For the design itself, it's unique. It's got a tritone colorway with red, blue, and yellow, carbon fiber, and basically like a sporty, futuristic feel to it. Great skin overall, very clean. I paired it with Nox because it really makes the skin pop when you have a darker colored glove on it. Next up, we have the Royal Paladin. Now this skin has a ton of ivory and a ton of intricate designs in the middle with 3D engravings. If you're a fan of that, you're gonna love this skin. I paired it with bronze gloves. I think it looks nice with the same color, and for the best value, minimal wear is 4 times cheaper than fact new, but this skin does wear pretty bad, so the float range I recommend is going to be 0.07 to 0.10 for that sweet spot of value and good looks. Next up, we have the Converter. Now this skin is super cheap, under $1 in factory new, and the design is very simple as well. Hexagonal pattern on the body with red and blue as the main colors. You can pair this with Crimson Web gloves for a red loadout, or you can make the fake Howlcraft, which in my opinion is going to be the best use case for this skin. Next up, we have the Griffin. Now this skin has to be the most underused M4 in the game. I've never seen anyone use it, but I think it's pretty nice. It's about $4 in factory new, so you might as well get the best condition, and it's basically a stock M4 with a Griffin decal on the middle. If you want to pair it with gloves, the best case I found was Snakebite, but anything else that is basically brown or gray will work pretty well here. Now, if you're looking for a good yellow M4, the Coalition is by far the best choice. It's about $220 in factory new, but if you get it in field tested, it drops to $20, which is over 10 times cheaper and looks pretty much identical. This skin has a very nice, clean black on gold design, tons of details, no art, basically a minimalist skin, and has great pairing potential with Omegas because they have that triangle pattern on the fingers that you see on the handle as well. Overall, a really cool skin, and it even has some pearlescent parts on it. Everything you see that's blue actually changes color to purple. Very minimal, but it's still definitely there. Moving on, we have the Bullet Rain. Now, this skin is quite old, about $40 in factory new. I would recommend minimal wear for the best value at $13, but keep in mind this skin wears really rough, so 0.07 through 0.10 float should look pretty good. Now, this skin fills the niche of being the minty colored M4 in the game. You don't see that on a lot of skins, and that also makes it a perfect combo with the Spearmins. You can build the whole loadout around it. This combo looks phenomenal, and you even have a little gremlin on the stock staring at you when you inspect the skin. Next up, we have the X-Ray. Now, this is basically the M4 equivalent of the AK X-Ray, where we get to see all of the internal components of the gun, which is pretty cool. Now, this skin does have a very specific color that you can't find on any other glove in the game, so go with whatever you like. And it's also flow capped at field tested to factory new, and all of them provide the same value, so pick whichever float you really want. Next up, the Polymag. Now, this skin is super basic. It's basically a stock M4, but with some tan parts instead of the gray, and the mag is see-through where you get to see the bullets in it. It's super cheap, 20 cents in factory new, so get the best condition, and that's pretty much it. Next up, we have the Urban DD Pat. Now, this skin is super cheap, under $3 in factory new, and I would recommend fact new because it wears really rough. Now, it's a basic DD Pat skin with a black and white colorway. If you like this style, go for it. Pair it with black ties or even something like King Snakes for a black and white inventory, and it's going to look good all around. Next up, we have the Battlestar. Now, this skin got a huge buff in CS2, and I actually really like it now. It's one of the cheapest coverts in the game, $9 in fact new. You can go even cheaper, minimal wear is about $4, and it has some great attributes. It's the only skin with this battleship design. The design itself is very intricate, and it's got a lot of 3D mapping. If you want to pair it with racing greens for a green loadout, that will look really clean, and a great skin overall. Next up, we have the Dark Blossom. Now, this skin has a flower print covering the whole gun. It's on the new model, which is a huge benefit, and it has a very dark colorway, so the best pairing I found with gloves was the Lunar Weave. This skin costs pretty much the same in every condition, so you might as well get factory new. I'm pretty sure the Desert Strike is the cheapest covert in the entire game. $5 in factory new, so you might as well get the best condition, and it has a nice tactical look to it, some tan accents. I actually enjoy how simple it is, and it pairs really nicely with Arid gloves. Next up, we have the Mainframe, which is incredibly cheap at 10 cents in factory new. It's got a circuit board design on the inner part, basically an OEM plus skin, the anodized finish, which makes the inner part actually reflective, and it pairs really nicely with smokeout gloves or anything that's black and white. You can actually do some pretty advanced crafts on the skin as well. Next up, the Tornado, which is a super old skin. It came out in 2013 with the arm steel update, and it's very basic, two-tone colorway, and that's pretty much it. It's also flow capped at 0.06, so factory new is extremely expensive at $120. If you want to get it, I recommend minimal wear for $13, and the best use case I found was for crafting, especially with the Eternal Fire papers. For gloves, I do recommend Lieutenant Commander, but it is a bit hard to work with in terms of inventory colors. Next up, we have the Global Offensive, which is a collection skin. All of the floats cost the same, so you might as well go for factory new, and it has a print that covers the whole gun. The colorway is blue and yellow, and it pairs really nicely with Eclipse gloves because they also have a pattern that's yellow on the inner palms. Next up, we have the Red DD Pad. Now, this skin is actually quite expensive, about $65 in factory new, and all of the conditions cost about the same, so you might as well go for the best one. Very simple skin, DD Pad. It's red, pairs really nicely with Crimson Web gloves, and honestly, a simple but nice choice to go for a red inventory. One of the weirdest M4s in the game is the Zerka, basically a full tan M4 with a star in the middle. It's actually pretty expensive, about $30 in factory new, and I would recommend that because all of the conditions are similarly priced. Now, the best use case I found was putting gold star stickers on it. Something like gold Nova scrape hollows are going to work really well, and for gloves, I recommend Racing Green because the background actually has some green on it as well. Next up, we have the Asimov. Now, this skin is quite expensive on the M4, about $180 in field tested, and this skin is actually flow capped at 0.18, so you cannot get factory new or minimal wear. I would recommend going for field tested, getting a better float. Overall, this skin is very clean, great for white and orange inventories, and pairs really well with the foundation gloves. Next up, we have the Radiation Hazard. Now, this skin came out in 2013, and back then, a lot of skins used to be flow capped at 0.06. This one is flow capped, so it's very expensive in factory new, nearly $400. For the best value, go for field tested to minimal wear, and this skin got a massive buff in CS2. It went to the new model, and now I think it looks phenomenal. It's a great orange skin, pairs really nicely in orange inventories, and it pairs nicely with orange gloves like the Tiger Strike. Next up, the Desert Storm. Now, this skin is flow capped at 0.06, and it's a camo skin with the tritone colorway. It's about $40 in factory new, but it doesn't even matter what wear you get this skin, it's gonna look destroyed. This is factory new and arguably one of the worst wear patterns in the entirety of CS2. That's also kind of difficult to work with if you want to pair it with gloves or inventories. Next up, the Jungle Tiger, which is also a camo skin with the tritone colorway, but here we have green and brown. This skin works really well with buckshots because they have a green inner palm, and it also wears really rough. It's also flow capped at 0.06. Go for minimal wear, it's nearly 8 times cheaper at $7. Next up, the Faded Zebra. Now, this skin came out in 2013. The recurring pattern is flow capped, bare bones design, very minimal colors, and the wear is really rough. It's a bit hard to work with in terms of gloves and inventories, but I will say it got ported to the new model. Next up, the Modern Hunter. Now, this is more of a collector's item because this skin is really old and rare in factory new. It's flow capped at 0.06, so factory new is very expensive. If you want to get it, go for min wear or field tested. Very bare bones design. We have some trees, some leaves. Pairs really nicely with big game gloves with like the orange patches, but overall, simple skin that's more of a collector's item. And finally, we get to the two big hitters of the M4s. First one up is the Poseidon. Now, this skin is from the Gods and Monsters collection, so a lot of emphasis on the lore. We have Poseidon fighting eels with a trident. I love how you can see inside of the eels, they're translucent. We have a harpoon up front. The whole skin is full blue. Gorgeous artwork. Pairs really nicely with the spearmints because of the mint color on it, and it's one of the skins where I do recommend factory new. A lot of overpay, but you really want to enjoy the beautiful artwork on the skin, so definitely go for the best condition, and also extremely expensive at over $1,000. And finally, we get to one of the most iconic and well-known skins in CS2, which is the Howl. Now, I'm gonna glaze the skin. I love it. The flaming dog in the middle is super aggressive. Tons of flaming decals covering the entire gun. We have a red and black colorway that looks incredible. Pairs really nicely with red inventories and red gloves like the Crimson Web. Over $5,000 in factory new, extremely expensive. And one of the main reasons people buy this skin is that contraband rarity. Only skin in the game to have that rarity. Plus, in-game, you get this nice golden border around the gun when you play with it. Overall, I think it's absolutely worth the hype, tons of history behind it, and just an absolute icon of a skin in this game. So that's pretty much it for this video. Guys, if you enjoyed, consider subbing to the channel or dropping a like on the video if you learned something new. Let me know what guns you would like to see next. Thank you guys so much for all the support on the previous video, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace out, everyone.